Hello everyone, welcome to Coding Jitsu channel. Today's video is the second episode from a series about web component, where I built a new component in each video in pure CSS and JavaScript. In the first episode, I built a responsive navigation menu. Link will be in the description if you want to check that out. In today's video, I'll be creating a frequently asked question component in accordion style. This particular accordion, actually I found it in CodePen, so let me go ahead and show you that. It is by Catherine Cato, and she did it brilliantly using our ARIA attribute to false and true. And just look at the JavaScript, it's just not very much. So it's a very, I think, a brilliant way to do frequently asked question like an accordion kind of a component. So I'm going to go ahead and share that link with you in the description as well. And I'll show you how she did that. Now, prerequisites for this video, you have to know the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you are not sure, I do have a complete playlist on web development where I have a crash course on each topics. If you want to check that out, the link will be also in the description as well. And one last thing before I start, if my videos help you in any shape or way, please like and share the video. Subscribe if you're not. Your support means a lot to me and gives me motivation to make video like this in the future. All right, let's get started. I'll be coding in Visual Studio Code. You can choose whatever editor you like, and I will also be using Live Server extension. You can get that in Extension Market here. And all right, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously the three files, right? I will create the three files. The first one is index.html, like that. And the second one we're going to create is Stylesheet. .css. And the third one is going to be app.js. Okay, so in index.html, I'll push exclamation mark, which will give me, enter, a boilerplate. And I'll change this title to FAQ. And it is the web component playlist. So just like that. So let's go ahead and link my style sheet like so. And just above my ending body tag, I'll add the script as well here. All right. And then I'm just going to say h2 and hello world. Save it. I'm going to right click and open with Live Server. It's going to open this one into, there you go, 5501. Usually Live Server opens up in 5500, but I have the final project running in 5500. So that's why it is going into 5501. So I have the hello world here. So let me just check if my style sheet and app.js is working properly. So I'm going to change the color of H2 to something bright, say red, and let's take a look. Yep, style sheet is working. So let me go ahead and get rid of that. Save this, and app.js, I'm just going to do an alert saying working. So if I save that, there you go. So everything is working properly. Nice. All right, so let's get started. On index.html, we'll create the accordion in a container, and I want every container to be kind of in the middle. So I will wrap everything into a div with the class of container, like that. And in that container, I will have the accordion div. Well, first I will actually have the heading. So I'll say h2. I'm just going to copy paste the heading from my reference here. So frequently asked question, just like this. This one is actually the heading of this one right here. All right, so after the h2, I'll create another div, and this one will have the accordion class, like that. And in the accordion, I will have accordion item, another div. So I'll create a class here. It's going to say accordion dash item, like that. And this is the accordion item. I will copy paste 4 more times. So basically this means this section right here, where it has the title, it has the button, and also this content here as well. So let's go ahead and create that. So this section here, and that's why I really liked her approach, how she built this section right here is all a button, a single button. So we're gonna do the same thing right here. Okay, so the first thing will be button, and in the button I will have an aria attribute. So it's going to be aria expanded, and usually it's going to be false at the beginning by default. And inside the button, I will have 2 spans. One span is for the title, and another span is for the icon itself. So it's going to be like this. So for the title, 1 span, and another span will be for this icon right here. Okay. So let's build that span and give it a class of accordion dash title. Okay, and let me grab the title real quick here from my reference again. And the next one is going to be another span, but this time with a class of, this one is simply going to be an icon. Okay, I'm going to save this, and I can actually add another aria hidden attribute as well. And as a default, it's actually going to be true because we don't want it to show. Okay, so the next one is going to be the content. So let's go ahead and create the content div like that. And in here, it's a paragraph tag, and I'll just paste some lorem ipsum here as well to save this. So if I go back to what we did, it looks like this. Okay, so we have a button right here and then some content, and this one I will make a copy like 4 more times. All right, so my div accordion item till this one right here, I will make a copy 4 more times. 1 2 3 4. All right, now I'm gonna fast forward this this section right here because I'm just gonna quickly change each title, so bear with me. All right, I think that's it for my index HTML. If I need anything else, then I will come back and change some stuff. Now, the main things actually happening, the main logic and everything, most of the things actually happening in Stylesheets. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to Stylesheet. Let me close this. And the first thing I will do is I will go ahead and copy paste a font from Google Fonts. And if I go here, I actually chose Poppins. If you just go to I'll give this link in the description as well, so you can get the exact Poppins with 300 font weight and add this to your project as well. And I will go ahead and do my regular standard reset. So star, and then set the margin to 0. Also the padding to 0 as well. And box sizing gonna be border box. Okay, and then next one is gonna be the body, and for the body we'll have, in fact, before body I'll create some variables. It's just some color variables, and I'll go ahead and copy paste the variables right here. So if you don't know, this is how you can create a variable in CSS, in pure CSS. You just do :root and then open up curly braces, and then you start the variable name with dash dash, and then you say whatever color or whatever the variable name you want to say, and then colon and set the value to it. And this is it, how we declare our variables at the beginning of the script. All right, so in the body, I'll first do like a font family and set the font family to Poppins. And the fallback, if the font family Poppins is not available, then it's just going to go to the sans serif. We'll change the background to, and this is how you call the background. So you say variable in parentheses, and you can choose whatever background whatever variable you want to use. So in this case, I will say --bg because that's the background. I'll also change the color to the gray one. So we'll choose the gray one and save that. And I will set also the min height of the whole document to 100 v height, like that. So I'll save this. If you go back and check it out, it looks like this. Okay, there's no margin, there's no padding. Okay, now let's go ahead and set the container here. So as you know that everything it is nested inside the div, which is a container. So I want the container to be at the very middle and have some padding and everything. So let's go ahead and do that. So container will have, first of all, margin 0 and auto, and that will simply put the container in the middle of the page horizontally, because that's what I'm saying. So 0 means top and bottom, just don't add any margin, but auto left and right, like if you have any space, put this in left and right, so it places the whole content in the middle horizontally. Okay, all right, so I'm also going to add some padding, and I'm going to say rem, and the width I'm going to do is about 48 rem. So save that. If you go back, you see that it is now dead center. Now this center, because of margin 0 and auto, and I added some padding, and also I added width. Okay, all right, so next one is I'm going to go ahead and grab the accordion now, accordion class, and I'm going to give an accordion class a margin top about 20 pixel, and that's safe, and that will give me about like a little bit of space in between here. All right, so next up is going to be the accordion. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So accordion, and inside accordion, I will have accordion item open up. So as you can see here, I have an accordion class and div, and inside accordion div, I have this accordion item. And this is actually going to select all the accordion item that I copy pasted. So let's go ahead and style this one. So each accordion item will simply have a border bottom. And let's go ahead, the last option right here, and it is actually going to be about 1 pixel in the thickness. It's going to be a solid line, and it's going to take the color of light gray. So like this, let me see. There you go. You can see there's a border bottom. So let me go back. And now I will go ahead and add, because the idea is we do have this one right here, this item right here has like an ARIA expanded, right? So if you see, the button actually has an ARIA expanded false, but when it becomes true, and that's what we're going to toggle through our JavaScript, when it becomes true, I also want to add a border bottom, okay? But to the button itself. So it looks like, so if you go to our final project, you can see that button actually has a border bottom right here if it's expanded. If it's not, then it just goes away. Okay, so that's the idea here. If it's expanded, then we're going to add a border bottom to the button as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this and then choose the button. But the button with an attribute ARIA expanded equals to true. So this style only going to take effect if ARIA expanded is true. And you know that by default it is not true, it is actually false, okay? But if it becomes true, then this style will happen. That means it's going to give it a border bottom. So I'm just going to copy this one right here and then change this one to blue, okay? All right, so next style is now we are going to style accordion button, all the buttons. So I'm going to check this, and here I'm going to say accordion button. The first thing I'm going to do is set this position to relative, and underneath I'm going to say should be a display of block, and I'm going to say text align. I'm going to do it left. I'm going to go ahead and do width of 100%, like that. And after the width, I'll add a little bit of padding, and that's going to be to top and bottom is going to be 1 em, left and right is going to be 0, and the color color will be a let's see, variable, and the color I will choose is the text color right here. And then I'm gonna also increase the font size to 1.1 rem. And the next one I will do is font weight. So I'm gonna say font weight, and that's just going to be 400. And the next one we'll do after font weight, we'll just get rid of the default styling that comes with button, right? So we're gonna say border is simply going to be none, no border, and then outline also going to be none. And I'm also going to take away the background. I'm going to say background is none as well. So let's take a look how it looks like. Look at that. It looks like this. Okay. All right. Coming along. And right now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to now make this button into like I will add a cursor pointer, and also I'll add, so if you go look at this, if you focus it or hover over it, it turns into a blue color. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this one as well. So let me go ahead and grab Accordion Button like this, and then let's do hover and comma, do this, and also focus. So this style, I want it not only on the hover, but on the focus as well. And this is how you can actually, with the comma, you can actually do two things at the same time. So I can say cursor, obviously add the pointer, and the color add the blue one. So like this. So if I save this one, see how it does. Look at that. Now if you hover, it changes to the blue color for every button. All right, coming along. Let's go ahead and now do, so I'm gonna grab this, and inside of a button, I do have Accordion Title. So those are two spans that we had. One is for the title and one is for the icon. So title, I'm just simply going to add some padding. So I'm going to just do 1 EM top, and right I'm going to do 1.5 EM, and down I'm going to do 1 EM, and then left, finally left, I'm just going to do 0. All right, so now I will take this again, and then inside of a button I have a class called icon. So I have two span. The second one was icon. Now this is where I will give this icon right here. We'll build this icon right here. Okay. All right. So let's do this. First of all, I'm going to change the display to inline block like that. I'm going to change the position to absolute. And I'm going to do top about 18 pixel, and then we'll do right about 0. So it's going to be all the way to the right hand side, and its width we'll do 22 pixel, and height will be about 22 pixels. So we're basically making like a square. So if I save this one, let's see if we can see it. We cannot see it right now because we didn't give any, like it doesn't have any border or background. So let's go ahead and give it a border. And it's just going to be simply 1 pixel solid. So if I save this, if you go right now you can see that all we did is actually made a box. So we just give it a shape, the icon class. This is a span. So span actually by default has a display of inline. So we wanted to make it inline block. We wanted to also give it a position of absolute, so we can position it absolutely. And then we gave it a like top of 18 pixel, right 0, because that's why it's stuck all the way to the right. And its width and height is the same, so it's basically a square. We made a square, so we can make it. So if you see this is a circle right here. So that's what we're gonna make. This square we can make it into a circle, but by just adding a border radius. And that border radius will be the same amount that your width and height. So it's going to be 22 pixel as well. Now, if you go check that out, you see that it's a proper circle right now. All right, now let me go ahead and make these two lines in the middle, the plus. Okay, so now I'm going to do that using before and after pseudo element. So I'm just going to grab all of this, copy this, and add. I'm gonna first do the before, and I'm gonna say display should be block, and this one also will have a position of absolute, and the content will just simply be nothing, just a string quotation here, and we'll give this again. We'll shape this as we like. So its top will be 9 pixel, and left would be about 5 pixel, and we're gonna give this a width. So we're basically making a line. So width will be about 10 pixel, like that, and height will be about 2 pixel. Okay, and that's the before, and simply so that I can see that what we did, the background will just say current color. So the current color will just choose whatever the color its parent has. So look at that. So we're just making this minus sign right here. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this and paste it one more time, change this before to after, and this is what I'm gonna change. I'm just gonna change this to, like, we're just gonna switch this number. So I'm gonna make the top to 5 pixel, left to 9 pixel, and then width to 2 pixel, and then height to about 10 pixel, like that. So if I save this, you see that now we have a complete plus. All right, coming along nicely. Okay, now what we want to change the color of. So right now, if it's expanded, okay, we want to change the color. So we are going to do accordion, and in the accordion we'll have an accordion item. In the item I will have a button which will have, and aria expanded equals to true. Again, this will affect only if the aria expanded is true. And this is simply gonna change the color of this, and it will change the color to blue, like that. And we are going to change now. We're gonna give this after, right? We're gonna grab this, and actually we're gonna grab this one right here, not this. We're gonna grab this one, and inside the button we'll go to the icon. Oops, there you go. Icon, and we'll change the after. So if it's, so you see that after has this vertical line, right? Now we're gonna make things, if it's expanded true, then that should just width should be 0. That should just disappear. So I'm gonna set that width should be 0, like that. So accordion button, aria expanded true. If that becomes true, then icon would be width would be 0. So what's happening right now? So let's take a look. Let me go to the index HTML, and let me make this one to true. The first one. Is it the first one? Let me see. Save. I don't think it's the first one, but yeah, it is the first one. Look at that. Now, if it's expanded, if it's true, then the vertical line just disappears because I set the width to 0. If the width is 0, then it doesn't show up on the screen. So let me go back to do that to false. Style sheet now. Okay, the next one, what we would do, I will go ahead and grab this one again, paste it, and I'm gonna do a plus. So if this is true, and accordion, let's get the accordion content. We're gonna go ahead and do opacity 1. If this is true, then accordion content. So this is what's happening right now. This should not show, okay? It should have like opacity of 0, just like this. It doesn't show, but if I click on here, which turns the aria expanded to true, then it comes in, okay? That's what we're gonna do here. So if it gets true, then accordion content should have opacity of 1, max height max height will have 9 EM, and the reason we are using max height is because that's how transition it will have like a smooth transition. If you just use this height, then the transition, I believe, will not work. And then we'll say transition all. So it's important that you use max height. So transition all, and then we're gonna just do like 0.2 second, or you can just do 200 millisecond like that. And then it's gonna have a linear transition. Okay, now let me go ahead and grab this one right now. Now this is only going to be affected when it's true, right? But by default, let me get rid of one more. By default, it should have, grab this, I'll just copy paste this one. By default, it should have opacity of 0, okay? Max height of 0. That's why it's not gonna expand. And then transition here is going to transition. I'll add the opacity. That's the one that we want to add transition to. And also, I want to do the same exact thing. I can write it in all the same way. So transition should happen in opacity for 200 millisecond in linear, also happen in max height for 200 millisecond, and that's also a linear. Okay? So this is the default stuff, and this is just when the array expanded becomes true. So now let's go ahead and copy this one, because I wanna select the paragraph here. Okay. So the font size here is going to be 1 rem. So and then font weight is going to be about 300. And I will give a little bit of margin, and I will give a margin of like a 1 EM, and top and bottom 1 EM, left and right 0. So let's go back and take a look how it looks like. This is how it looks, our project so far. Okay, so now the only thing remains, as you can see, if you hover, there changes, color changes and everything. The only thing now we have to do is change that true. False to true, the array expanded. Otherwise, it looks pretty awesome, pretty good. Okay, now time for us to go to our JavaScript. And it's going to be really simple. The first thing what we have to do is just grab the item itself. Actually, I'm going to make items, because it's just going to be a collection of items. So I'm actually grabbing each button. Okay, actually grabbing each button. So for that, I'm gonna use query selector all. So it's gonna be this one, and it's just gonna be accordion button. Let me go ahead and copy paste this one right here. So I am inside of accordion class. There's a button. I want every button to be selected with query selector all. Okay. Now I can add an event listener. Click event listener to each button, and because it gives us a node list, kind of like an array, we can call for each on them, and then it will give me one single item. Okay, one single item, and then we can do something with this. So with this item, now I can add event listener 2, and it's going to listen to the click, and it's going to run a function. And I'm going to just call the function toggle accordion. There's too many C's. Okay, so I grab the items, so all the buttons in the accordion class, all right? So all the buttons that we have, all right? And then because query selector all actually gives you an array, all the buttons, then I do have to add the click listener to each button. So I will call for each on them, and for each will give me single item, and then the item I will add listener click to it, and this click, what happens, it's going to fire up a function. This is, you'll just name the function name here. Now I have to now create the function here. So let's call let's call a function. So I'm going to say function, name that, open parentheses, and then like this. In the function, what it does, what is it going to first do? So I'm going to create a variable, And this is it's going to do. It's going to first grab item. I'm going to say item toggle. It's going to first grab the default state of the RE expanded. Okay, first it's going to grab that and put it in this variable. So I want to grab, so whenever that click, the button is getting clicked, I want to first grab this RE expanded attribute. Is it false or true? I want to grab that first, and based on that I want to do something. Okay, because if it's false, then I don't have to show my p tag, right? Because p tag, as you can see, or accordion content in this case, by default it will not show because it's just simply opacity 0. So save this. Okay. Oh, that's why it's actually showing, because my class name. That's why I was thinking, like, why is it showing? Is because I only named this in fact this content like that. If I save this one as well. There we go. Now it is, as you can see, now it's by default, it's not showing. Okay, now that's gonna happen if the array expanded is false. So I'm gonna first see whether it's false or true. So it's just going to, and I can use this keyword only because I use it as a traditional function. Okay, if I use it arrow function, I would not have this keyword, but I have it. That's why I use function here. So this, whatever the item the click is activated on, should get the attribute like this, get attribute. And what is the what attribute it should get? So I have to give this an attribute name, which is area expanded, like that. So it's going to get the attribute, either it's true or false, and put it in the variable called item toggle. And the next up, what I have to do is I have to create a for loop, because whenever, if you see the final project, if I click on here, it gets expanded, but everything else is closed. So if I close this one, if I open this one and open the other one, you see this is closes, but this opens. For that reason, what I actually have to do is I have to loop through each product and only open the one that has the click, event clicked. Okay, so everything else should be closed. So I will just simply do let item of items. I'm gonna use a for off loop here, and here I'm gonna say item dot set attribute. I'm gonna set the attribute to for this one to false, just like that. So when it gets clicked, only the one that's clicked should be open and everything else should be false. So I have to now tell the one that clicked what it should do. So it's gonna first check whether the item toggle is equals to false, because it should open up only if it's false, right? And then I'll use again this dot set attribute, and this time I'm gonna just copy paste this. And instead of false, this time it will do true. So if I save this, and now let's go to index.html, save this, everything is safe. Let's go back to see how this is our project that we'll be working on. And then hover, it works. And if I click on here, you see that it opens up. How cool is that? It's pretty simple thing. If you don't add this for loop, then it's just going to open up for you. So you can actually do look at that. So if I comment it out, and I'll just do else this dot attribute to false, save this. And if I go here, refresh, and if I open this, you see that it doesn't close. So it's up to you if you want everything to be just kept open, and user should manually close it all, or you can just have, except for this else logic, you can just have another loop that will basically check for whether everything else get closed. So if you click on here, if you click on another one, it's gonna get closed the first one. All right, this is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, if you're watching still. Next up, I will do some other component. Till then, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Peace.